revealed the anguish of their breast. And women stood with streaming eyes and saw their dearest children sold. Unheeded rose their bitter cries as tyrants bartered for gold. And men whose sole crime was their hue, the impress of their maker's hand, and small and trembling children too were gathered. They had come here to my home in North Carolina to talk to me and to ask me how do I feel about this or that. And they are all my children. I accept that they're my children. I accept that you are. You see, it's important for me to understand that. Then I must tell you the truth as I understand it. Because you may be the last person I'll speak to. Life is life and death is death. And so I must be telling the truth. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, while others claim, no, they are living the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. We are brown and pink and beige and purple. We are tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land and seen the wonders of the world, but not yet one common man. I've known 10,000 women who are called Jane or Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe, and lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love, we lose in China, we weep on England's moors, we laugh and lie in Guinea. We thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ. In major we're the same. I note the obvious differences in every sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Women and men, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike.
Life is dead, or midnight hours in an empty bed. The persecuting blues I've known could stalk like tigers and break like bones. Pinned like rope in a gallows tree, make me curse my pedigree. Bitterness thick on a rankling tongue, psalms to love left unsung. Rivers heading north but ending south, funeral music and a going home mouth. All riddles are blues, and all blues are sad. And I'm just talking about some blues I've had.
What were you like as a very young child when all of us are truly formed?
Well, I was sent to Arkansas from California when I was 3, to a tiny, tiny town.
Named?
Stamps, Arkansas.
Stamps as in male?
As in male, aptly named. It was about that big, of the size of a 3-cent postage stamp. All small towns are provincial. I lived there from the time I was 3 until I was 13. And as long as I lived there, I was called by the black people Mrs. Henderson's California granddaughter. So I did not belong.
What did you look like? What kind of kid were you?
Well, my eyes have a slant to them. And the black kids told me that my daddy was a Chinaman. And they used to tease me. So I didn't know anything about that. So I thought they meant that he was made out of China, like a cup or a plate or something. It was a terrible thing to say to somebody unknowing. But I had no mother and father. And
Wait a minute. Who was taking care of it?
my grandmother.
Your mother and father had sent you to your grandmother.
Yes, that's right, from California. They had separated when I was 3. My grandmother owned the only black-owned store in the town, and she lived with her younger son, my uncle, who was crippled. And my brother and I, we lived in the store, in the back of the store.
That was really a world in itself.
It was a marvelous world in there.
Could you paint for me just a picture for a moment? Those of us from these big cities. What was it like of an afternoon or a morning? Who gathered? What was the mood of the place?
But it would depend on what season. In the summer season, the people who picked cotton would come about 4:30 in the morning, and my grandmother would get out of bed. I slept with her. My brother slept with my uncle. She would get out of bed and immediately down to the floor to pray, to thank God for letting her rise again, that her bed had not become her cooling board, that her blankets had not become her winding sheets, and she had one more chance. And I would lie in the bed while she prayed, and then I would get out of bed. I wasn't obliged to say morning prayers. Only the righteous say morning prayers. So I would get out of bed, and she'd light the lamp, and we would go into the kitchen part of the store and wash, and then go and open up the store. And the people would come in the morning in that light, which was gray, but not gray flat, gray rich gray light. With
into this little country store?
Into the country store. And they'd come in bragging, you know, about how much cotton they were going to pick that day, and they would buy large slabs of cheese if they had money, or peanut patties, which are just the brown sugar and peanuts, which are very high, of course, in sugar, but also high in protein. And sometimes people would buy sardines and a box of crackers, and that would be for lunch, you see. In the evening, the people would come home, and the light would be different. They would be driven back to the store in flatbed trucks where everybody stood up. And all that gaiety and hope and promise of the morning, which went with the morning light, had seeped away through the day. And their shoulders were down and over like that. And they drag out of the trucks and drag across the yard. And their voices, the lightness that had been in the morning, and the teasing, which is so sweet among black people, the teasing of the morning was gone. It would just be, well, Sister Henderson, I'm back. Yes, they show us hot out there. And it would seem as if not only had they lost the spirit, but that they had lost texture. Texture was gone. And during the years when I really noticed, I was a mute. I had stopped talking when I was about 7½, and didn't really talk again until I was about 12½.
Saying it I seen it all. I seen it all. Let's do a beat this time. Let's not testify. Let's see still alive. Let's see still alive.